Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm testing possibly one of the greatest ever driving games I've ever played. I'm going to outline 5 reasons why I think it's the best game ever in its genre. It's just wicked, it's really good, so I recommend, even if you don't like cars that much, it is a masterpiece, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. So I'm going to be honest, the first thing that attracted me to the game was actually the way the cars sounded. Now I've played a lot of car games in the past, I'm a car guy, and the cars actually sound similar to how they sound in real life. And that for me was actually a big selling point. I mean, I haven't come across many games at all where the cars actually sound like they really do. I mean, I've played all the past Forzas, there are only a few cars which do actually sound the same as their real life counterpart, but all the cars in game that I've tested so far sound very similar. I mean, for instance, you take the Lamborghini Aventador, just the LP700 in the first game, Forza Horizon 1, and that really doesn't sound anything like it does in real life. Trust me, I go to a lot of events, I live in London, so I see Aventadors on a fairly regular basis. Obviously they're not everywhere, but you know what I mean. I see a lot more Aventadors than the average person, and I can tell you that the sound in game pretty spot on, I'll tell you that. And obviously here you can see some Audi R8 V10 footage, the new V10 Plus. That's superb, that sounds on point as well, with its absolutely amazing V10 engine. And then what's cool is, like, even it's not just the top of the range supercars which do actually sound accurate. I mean, I went for a drive in this mercedes-benz A45 AMG, one of my favourite ever hot hatches. It's mental, and that does actually sound very similar. There's actually quite a few people where I live who have these as kind of hot hatch daily driver cars. They've probably got something else in the garage at home, and I can tell you now it's very on point. The sound there is also on point. I mean, if you set the game to manual, I often play these games in manual because it's just, you know, I like having more control. When you go through tunnels, you can downshift, you can short shift, so you can actually drive this thing how people drive it in the city. They tend to, you know, accelerate through 1 or 2 gears, short shifting maybe second to third, something like that, third to fourth, and then they'll downshift when they go past a building just to cause a bit of noise. So that's what I like about using manual shift in games like this. You've got that extra control, and you can actually drive the cars how they're actually driven in the real world. People, I've seen other videos about the car sounds, just the car sounds in Forza Horizon 3, and people in the comments are criticising the driver, like, you know, bro, why aren't you, you know, taking it to the red line every single gear, you know, like the auto does? It's like, well, in the real world, you would not be doing that very often at all. I mean, you know, it just goes to show, you know, why these people are just commenters and that they don't actually have these cars in real life, because they would fucking wreck them. But of course it is fun also in manual mode. You can take it up to the red line and you can bounce it off a little, and that's something auto mode also wouldn't do. A bit too much information there. We move on. The second thing is the weather system. The weather is amazing. I mean, if you just look at the raindrops on the screen, yes, other games have that, and you even look at, you know, the in-cockpit mode, and you just see the windscreen wipers and how the rain doesn't just simply fall onto the windscreen, but it then actually is swiped up and moves up the screen as you get faster, and that's really impressive. Another thing I like about the weather is the fact that, well, not only it looks good, but also the idea that you can actually feel a change in conditions, and there are several car games out there where it rains but it doesn't really get any more slippery, and that's quite interesting. You can actually feel the car, you know, the car feels totally different in the wet, and it's a lot easier to get the back end out. Of course, this isn't a simulation game, so it is a lot harder to lose these cars than in real life. I mean, the R8, you can see, like, in the video, in numerous occasions, yeah, I lose it a bit, but it's very planted. I mean, I haven't actually driven the R8 at all, so I wouldn't know how it responds, but all I know is you wouldn't be, you know, full power all the time. I mean, of course, that's the problem with playing on the PC. It's kind of binary. You either have no throttle or you have, you know, 100% throttle. It's kind of binary, obviously on or off. So that's why, you know, playing with pedals and a steering wheel would be a really good experience. Damn, doesn't it look drop dead gorgeous in the wet though. I like the diversity. Let's talk about diversity. It's kind of a 2-in-1. First, I'll talk about the diversity of the vehicles available. There are so many different cars on offer. I mean, you can even bloody drive around in a bloody Halo mobile, and that's pretty cool. The Warthog or whatever it's called, and that's pretty cool. And then you can drive, you know, supercars cars, GT3 cars, hot hatches, classics, SUVs, everything, and that's great. The policy for cars seems to be for Forza, you take the Horizon game before, you look at what DLCs were available, and then you basically add them to the new game as standard and then bring new DLCs out. That doesn't work all the time. There's a few missing. I noticed like the Lamborghini Murcielago LP670-4 SV, which was in the first game, I think is missing from this, has been replaced by the Aventador SV, the LP750, which is great. I would like to also see the old car back, the LP670 SV from its predecessor, the Aventador's predecessor, although they're very, very different cars. But, you know, the Aventador is one of the cars I've been driving the most, not because I got it for free, but, you know, I don't want to be an Aventador or Lamborghini fanboy, but it does sound magnificent, that bellowing V12, I mean, the crackling on the upshifts, it's one of the cars I love. The upshift in real life, if you ever get a chance to hear it, it's beautiful, a really kind of mechanical, kind of wet sound, which is great. And, you know, another interesting thing about the noise of the car in real life is just how bassy it is. I mean, you'll hear it long before you see it, like kind of like a couple of people I know. And in the city, which is where I see most of them, you know, the sound just bounces off the walls. So when I'm playing with the Aventador in game, I love to crank the bass up. I do have the ability on my sound system to do that, and it does really kind of drown out everything else around it. The bass, the low end when it's just ticking over, is incredible. Then of course there's the environment. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. When I first heard it was going to be in Australia, I thought, surely that's just going to be, you know, the outback, nothing really to see, a few trees, the Ula in the distance, and that's it. But it's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, the broad vistas, you've got everything. You've got desert, you've got windy forest roads, you've got the beach, and little towns and roundabouts, which is quite cool. And that's really fantastic. I mean, it would have been cool if it was set in New Zealand as well, after I'm sure everyone's seen the Top Gear episode, when you got Clarkson racing in the rental car, the fastest car in the world, and then you've got James on the boat racing around New Zealand. The scenery there was spectacular, and I kind of liken that to here. I know obviously it's a different country. I'm not sure what the rivalry's like down there between Aussies and Kiwis, but all I'll say is I wouldn't be too unhappy if it was set just across the water. I would have to now talk about gameplay. The gameplay itself, again, it's very interesting. You've got lots of different style races with different cars, your off-road cars, on-road races, very different. I mean, they somehow managed to make all the races different disciplines. Then they mix it up with these special kind of campaign, strange events where you're racing like a chopper with like a jeep dangling, something like that, and that just makes for a really varied experience. And it really is just an incredible game to muck around in. I mean, the amount of hours I've put into this game, not even doing anything, literally just driving around on the roads, getting the back end out a bit, doing some downshifts and some pulls, and that's enough for me. I mean, even if there were no races and you literally just got the cars and got to drive around. Okay, so I've made the claim that it's one of the best games. Everyone should play it, not even if you're just a car guy. Is that founded on anything? Is it really better than a lot of other games? And I think it is, for a couple of reasons. I think firstly, not just one, the way it looks. I mean, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Yes, of course, there are a load of other games nowadays coming through which look equal, but I kind of get this warm feeling when playing it, you know. It really does appeal to your emotions, and that sounds a bit weird maybe, but it really does. Everything comes together. When it starts raining, you see the puddles, you see these beautiful brand new cars, brand new supercars, like the latest R8 for instance. It's just absolutely magnificent. So that's kind of something abstract you can't really explain in terms of numbers or anything. Yes, there's a lot to do as well, and also I like the soundtrack. Horizon, I love this idea of coupling music and a music festival with racing, you know, and I was particularly excited to see that Fred V and Grafix and Hospital Records have their own radio station in game, and that is just magnificent. So I thought, I'm downloading the demo. So I downloaded the demo from the Play Store. I don't know what it's called, not the Play Store, the Windows Store. and I was absolutely delighted to hear that in the demo the first track that plays is Fred V and Grafix and their song Constellations, and that was like, holy shit, you know, I thought they were obscure before, so that was just like a personal thing, you know, being also from the south of England, they're the posh boys of drum and bass. It was just lovely to see them in the game, you know. So basically what's happened here is Horizon 3 is just on point, really on point. Obviously it's not simulation. If you like more simulation racetrack games, of course you go for Forza 7 or whatever they're on, but for the all-round experience I'd definitely pick up Horizon 3. If it's on sale, I'd go for it. I mean, to be honest, I'd even pay full price for this game, it's that good. So I hope you've enjoyed my kind of review type thing of it. I can't emphasize enough, if you ever get the chance, play it. I mean, just download the demo. I mean, it's quite big. I think the file will take a little while to download, but you'll just feel what Horizon 3 is all about. You get a really good cross section of the experience. I mean, not to spoil the experience of the demo, but you do get to drive a very nice car at the end, the Lamborghini Centenario, which sounds, well, it is basically an Aventador in different clothing. You'll hear what it sounds like. That's how it really sounds in real life. And you hear Constellations on the radio, you race against a Jeep hanging from a helicopter, and it's just great. It really is a great demo, one of the best demos. It was the same with Horizon 1, the demo hooked me straight away, and you get to go in the 599XX, I believe. It's been a while since I played it. But that was just magnificent as well. So Horizon, they just create this experience. It gives you a real sort of uplifting feel when you play the game. So play it. Just go ahead, play it. I mean, it's not a GTA. And that's really all I want to say for now. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day, and we will see you soon.